from Sweet Top Farm. I am literally just coming in from work and have brought in the CSA box for this week. I will say, after I had everything unloaded last week and took a look at all the produce that we had, I said, wow. This is the first year that we've been actual CSA members of our farm and not just bringing produce in from the field whenever we want. We still do some of that, but we also are trying to eat through a box just like you are. And so I thought I'd share this week some ways that we are doing that successfully. And we did have one unsuccessful thing that we did not eat last week, and that was our beet greens. They went to the compost, and that's okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we have this week and see what we're gonna do. All right, beautiful bunch of carrots this week. We have no problem whatsoever eating carrots in our house. In fact, we don't have enough of them. When you go to store them, make sure that you take the greens off and just store the roots in a bag. Another bunch of kale. While we love our kale salad, we have been using kale a lot in smoothies, just fresh. We just wash it, put it right in with the rest of the stuff and grind it up. That's a good way to get rid of a bunch of kale and get your greens in for the day. This is a new item this week, celery. Northern grown celery is a lot different than the celery you get in the grocery store. It has a lot of flavor. If you are not a fan of celery, that's okay. A good way to use it is to wash it, cut it up, and freeze it. You don't have to blanch it or anything like that. You can do the same thing with the leaves, and it's great to pull out around the holidays when you need celery for your turkey dressing or making stock for soups, that kind of thing. It holds that wonderful flavor in the freezer. Otherwise, we pretty much eat all of our celery with peanut butter and raisins, aka ants on a log. Make sure you keep your celery in a bag, otherwise it will wilt. Beautiful little torpedo onions this week. They have that torpedo shape, that's where the name comes from. They are fresh onions, so keep them in your refrigerator. Let's see. We have fennel in the box this week. It has that anise flavor. For those of you that didn't get a box last week, there was also some last week. I know that might be a hard one for some of you to use if you're not familiar with it, so I will give you some ideas at the end of the video. We have a small cauliflower. I like to think of these as a delicacy since they're so small this year, but you know, the cauliflower did not like all of these 90, 95 degree days and just put on heads a little too soon. They're still delicious, just a little smaller than we like. All right, 2 wonderful heads of broccoli. We eat a lot of broccoli in our house, but I will admit that we had one left over at the beginning of the week this week that we decided, you know what? Monday or Tuesday is going to be leftover vegetables from the CSA box day, and we'll figure out what to do with them. And it went in a stir fry. Everybody gets 1 or 2 small eggplant this week. We just grow a small variety, not a large globe variety. And I love eggplant grilled. So if you grill, slice in half lengthwise, brush with olive oil generously, put flat on the grill or in a grill basket until it's soft enough to put a fork through. And then I take it off the grill, cover it with some foil, or a towel or some sort of cover so that it can continue to steam and soften up. And then I slice it up, put balsamic vinegar, salt, pepper, gorgonzola cheese, walnuts, basil, whatever you like to flavor it. Two squash and 1 or 2 zucchini this week. I know there's a lot of zoodlers out there. We get a lot of people at the farmer's market that like to zoodle, so these are a nice size for making zucchini noodles. Okay, big cucumber harvest this week. Lots of cucumbers, and I hope that you love cucumbers. Adam likes to say that a cucumber a day keeps the doctor away. So far, that's true in our household. We eat a lot of cucumbers. But for those of you that are like, whoa, so many cucumbers, I still have cucumbers left from last week. Get out a knife, a cutting board, slice them thin, like pickle thin, in rounds. If you have a food processor with a slicing attachment, use that because it goes super snappy. And then get your fennel, do the same thing, cut them in nice thin slivers. If you want to do the same thing with an onion, you can do that. And then make a brine out of apple cider vinegar, water. I throw some peppercorns in there, some mustard seed, salt, pepper, and you can look for that recipe in the newsletter this week, but it's refrigerator pickles. They're done overnight. They're great on sandwiches. If you are standoffish about the fennel taste, you can't even taste the anise and fennel once it's pickled. So everybody in our household, including Harvey, our 15-month-old, is eating it right up. So a good way to use those items. And it's amazing how many cucumbers you can go through when you have a refrigerator pickle. They're still coming, so find different ways that you like to use cucumbers. Look in the newsletter this week. I'll put a few how to cook with cucumbers recipes in there, as well as the pickle recipe. So I hope that you are finding ways to eat through your box. If you have tricks that you use in order to get rid of vegetables faster or within the 7-day time period, please share those with us so that we can share them with everyone else. We'll say that squash and zucchini are not favorites in our household, so those are the first things that I use. I don't even put them in the refrigerator. I keep them out the night that I take them out of the box, and we use them for dinner that night. That way I know that those are getting used up. Otherwise, I'm going to go take care of the rest of this stuff so it's ready to eat, and we're going to enjoy the harvest alongside you. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.